Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, September 9th, 2024. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The flash flood watch, which has been in effect for St. Vincent and the Grenadines up to 6 p.m. today, has been extended to 6 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. A flash flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable and there exists a possibility of flooding during the watch period. A flash flood watch may be upgraded to a warning if conditions warrant. The SVG Met Services says unstable conditions are affecting the islands with cloudy to overcast with scattered light to moderate showers, periods of light rain and isolated thunderstorms expected. Over 2 inches of rainfall have already been recorded at various stations. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides or near rivers and streams should be prepared. And even with the rain, we cannot escape the heat. That's according to a forecaster with the SVG Met Service, Gregory Cato, who was a guest today on NBC Radio Face-to-Face program. Cato says, based on the climatic data from 1991 to 2020, it has the highest maximum average temperature of 31.3 compared to all of the other months. And for this September, persons can expect more humid conditions for the remainder of the month.
September. So when you actually think about averages, for you to get that, you say let's say 30 days in September, you have 31.3 as the max. That means you would have to have temperatures basically close to that, right? We have to take into account the humidity as well. But from September to November, we can look forward to near record heat causing episodes of significant heat stress expected through October, particularly in September. And we've had a record heat season last year. But this year we're expecting pretty much similar conditions, slightly warmer, we could say.
Okay. And I noticed yesterday's temperature was 33.1. That was really warm. It's the warmest for a while I've seen.
Yes. It's not likely that you see that, but the thing is though, humidity makes a big difference when it comes to the temperature. I just like to share this right now. In January, February, March, a temperature of 30 degrees would not feel like what it feels like in the hurricane season, just simply because you had of the fact that humidity, there's a relationship between the humidity and the feel like factor. So you can have a 30 degrees in, let's say, January, February, and the way you feel, it will be completely different from how you feel with a 30 degrees in September. And as I mentioned, humidity makes that difference. So there's a calculation that can be done, a mathematical calculation that gives you, although it's 30, it may feel like 40 to you. But that's because of the fact that around the hurricane season, you have more moisture around present and so forth, so that the humidity aspect.
Noting that 2023 was the warmest year on record globally, Cato says, with 9 days into the month of September 2024. The warm conditions recorded last year are already being felt and persons need to take the necessary precautions to safeguard their health.
I'd like to share what we call, we hear from time to time, a heat wave. Now, if your temperature, you mentioned you saw 33, right? Now, the average maximum for September, as I mentioned, is 31.1. Now, if you have 2 consecutive days of that or more, it's considered a heat wave. Now,
at 31.
31. Now, mind you, it is 31.1. That's the average maximum temperature for September. But last year, we had a record high of 25 consecutive days where the mean was exceeded. So the 2nd to the 26th of September last year, we had temperatures in excess of 31.1. So we are, what day today, the 8th? 9th? 9th. So we are just at the 9th. We are just the 9th of September. And we were saying on Saturday, it was really, really warm, right? But I just want the folks to know that at this point in time, September isn't over yet. And if we are feeling warm, then we must ensure that we stay hydrated, because you're going to sweat. Persons outside, if you're doing whatever activity, outdoor activity, you have to be mindful that if your body is losing the water, then you must ensure that you replenish this. And this is the same for plants and so forth. heat stress animals, livestock.
In its 72 hours weather forecast, the SVG Met Service says additional moisture is being drawn to our islands as the Intertropical Convergence Zone, the ITCZ, migrates northwards. In addition, it says light wind speeds will continue within the forecast period. Therefore, warm conditions are expected to persist along with the increase in possibilities for localized afternoon showers. The 72 hours forecast also says a moisture of cloudy skies, sunny and warm conditions with interruptions of moderate pockets of showers and isolated thunderstorms expected within the next 3 days. In other local news now, we hear that the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, is assuring citizens and residents of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that there is no cause for alarm regarding La Soufrière volcano. Recent images and reports of visible steaming from the crater have raised concerns among the public, as well as complaints of the smell of sulfur. But NEMO says residents are asked not to panic as the volcano is not erupting. According to a social media release from NEMO, the steaming is a natural result of extremely hot rocks inside the crater coming into contact with water. The organization says this interaction is a normal process following volcanic eruptions and may continue for years, if not decades, as the rocks gradually cool. NEMO says the Soufrière Monitoring Unit team continues its routine observations, ensuring that the volcano is being closely monitored. Director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, commented that there is no unusual seismic activity at the volcano and that their data shows that everything is stable. NEMO says it continues to maintain active monitoring of La Soufrière volcano through its seismic stations and other equipment, that the organization remains vigilant and prepared to provide timely updates to the public as necessary. The temporary school building at Annesville, which will be used to accommodate some 300 students from the Southern Grenadines, will be ready to commence classes tomorrow, Tuesday, September 10th, 2024, but only for those at the secondary level. Today, teachers turn up at the temporary facility to participate in a professional development session, as well as preparing their classrooms for school tomorrow. Initially, the Ministry of Education had said that the school would be ready today, Monday, September 9, 2024. However, there has been some delays on the construction work. The contractors have reportedly been working round the clock to ensure that the school building is ready for the students whose parents have opted to send their children on mainland St. Vincent after the island in the Southern Grenadines was battered by Hurricane Beryl and most of its infrastructure damaged. Project manager Dimitri Samuel said the works on the building are near completion.
The staff from both schools here right now, the teachers, are coordinating their classroom locations. You see a group of the teachers over there from the primary school. So they're organizing their grade 1 to kindergarten, making sure they have enough furniture in each classroom. The same goes for the secondary school. The staff again acclimatized to their staff room. And then we should have the computers in today from the Ministry of Education. And then we're doing the final cleaning, making sure the compound is debris free and clean and sanitized for the students. Fully occupied with students, teachers, no construction workers around. The area that was allocated for Stephanie Brown is in the back. It has a separate entrance, and that they will still have work going on there this week. But it's away from the students and should be completed by the end of the week.
In a news release issued earlier today, the SVG Education Media Unit said that there will be a slight delay for students of the Mary Hutchinson Primary School and the Stephanie Brown Primary School due to heavy rainfall, which has affected the construction progress, and that students from these two primary schools will now tentatively start their classes on Thursday, September 12, 2024. The 300-plus students who are expected to take up classes at a temporary Annesville facility are from the Union Island Secondary, the Mary Hutchinson Primary, and the Stephanie Brown Primary. Project manager Samuel said the two primary schools will merge as one.
Right now, we have 7 classrooms on this side for the primary school, which is the combination of Mary Hutchison and Stephanie Brown. And on that side, we have 14 classrooms for the Union Island Secondary School. In the center here, we have the labs, physics and chemistry labs. We are standing right next to the computer labs. And on that side over there is the administrative building, where we have principal, reception, counselor, and other offices. Created classrooms for all 3 schools, but we recently combined both primary school into one. So
for the students and teachers who choose to remain on Union Island in the Southern Grenadines, they are expected to start their classes tomorrow, Tuesday, September 10, 2024. And 13 teachers from the Union Island Secondary School are expected to be in their classrooms tomorrow at the temporary building in Arnoldsville. Principal of the school, Daryl Williams, shared with SVG-TV News his expectations for the new school term at their new location.
I am expecting that our students will first become accustomed to the site, that they will give their best effort even though they are apart from the original location, that they see this as an opportunity to learn more about St. Vincent also, and that they make the best of what we have here to offer to them. I know it will take some time to getting used to, because a new place, you have to learn the environment and so forth. But with my staff that's here, we'll try to help them, become part of the school that is still existing, even to those that are on Union Island.
Acknowledging that it is a different environment, the principal said the teaching of the curriculum will not be affected and that he doesn't expect the students to be at a disadvantage.
We may have about 13 teachers here and probably 62 students. The figures may change, but that's just an estimation. Because what will have to happen is there has to be a synchronized teaching effort for those teachers that are here and with the students that remain on Union Island. We hope, if there be additional staff, that synchronized teaching will help to cover the areas that we need to cover for the syllabus. As long as we know what the numbers are, then we can work accordingly with those that are in Union Island and those that are here. Our teachers are hard workers, and I am grateful for them because they know how to get the work across, even in difficult times.
The primary school teachers were seen making their own assessment of their new teaching environment. One of the heads of the primary school said she has nothing much to say, while noting that she does not have a good review of the relocation. Meanwhile, the opposition member of Parliament for East Kingstown, Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble, today visited the temporary school building at Arnoldsville for the Union Island students and teachers. The MP said, based on initial assessment, the work carried out is commendable.
I understand that today is the beginning of things. I think they have professional development there for the staff. And as a representative for East Kingstown, this facility is in East Kingstown. So not only is it my duty and responsibility to come and check and see how things are going, but as somebody who's a former educator and somebody who's interested in the development of my country, I wanted to come and see what's happening here. The progress looks good. I mean, the facility looks good so far. There's still some work to be done, but I think given the circumstances, we have to continue to work together in the interest of the students, This is something that supersedes politics. We have to make the best decision in the interest of our students. And I hope that when this facility is completed, that the students would be well accommodated But at the same time, hopefully they'll be able to go back down to Union Island as quickly as possible.
In more education news now, we hear that headmistress of the Girls High School, Latoya Daroshay John, has emphasized the need for improved teaching strategies to address the low percentage of students excelling in CSEC mathematics this year here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the region. In a recent interview with SVG-TV News, the GHS headmistress said they have to explore different teaching methods to help students in the subject area, noting that a mental block surrounding mathematics often causes students to fear the subject, contributing to poor performance at the exam.
We have to get them to love the math and to see the math as relevant and necessary. I think the mental block that is created as it relates to math sometimes make the students, fearful of it, but we have to find a way to engage them and for them to understand that it's a very important subject area that we all need to conquer, that they need to conquer. So we have work to do as educators. But I am really pleased with the performance of our math department here and our girls by extension. Highlighting the success of the GHS at this year's CSEC examination in mathematics, with 46 out of the 62 students receiving a grade 1 in the subject, Daroshay John noted that the Gillis Francis mathematics competition was a key strategy used to engage their students. She said the competition introduced in the third form encourages students to develop a love for mathematics, which in turn motivates them to take the CSEC examination in the fourth form, with many of the participating students excelling in the subject. All of our math teachers are very organized in terms of the delivery of instruction. So they are planners, they have their lesson plans, and I think the last thing I would say I have observed is the amount of practice they give. They are always giving the girls, practice sheets to take home, bring them back, let's correct them, let's do this again. And so that helps to build confidence as the girls do these worksheets and they come back and they get a good score. And if they don't get a good score, they work until, until they achieve good grades. We ensure that once the girls need help, they have our numbers, they have emails, they could come to the staff room on their breaks. We are very accessible as a staff. So the girls know that they always have some support when they require that support. Meanwhile, President of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, is responding to a claim by Minister of Education, Curtis King, that the volcanic eruption and the COVID-19 pandemic contributed to a decrease in performance by some students, particularly in maths and English, at the 2024 CSEC exams. While acknowledging that these factors played a role, the Teachers Union head said the dismissal of 212 teachers because of the COVID-19 vaccine mandate deprived students of quality education needed to prepare them for the exams.
And we were talking about we need adequate quality teachers in the classroom. The Minister of Education is not responding correctly because there were only 7 teachers who were qualified, which they had to substitute the 212 who were dismissed. So in other words, he excluded the adequate quality teachers in the classroom from the equation, and that is part of the equation. And it is the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines that caused that to happen.
Robinson also criticized the actions of education officers following the reopening of schools last week. He said some officers were intimidating teachers, instructing them to return to the school and even clean classrooms, which he emphasized is not part of their job description, and that education officers cannot force teachers into the classroom when they are not teacher ready.
In some cases, they were telling the teachers they have to go to the school and clean the school. That's not the job description of teachers. And if they don't, their names will be sent to the cabinet. If your workplace is not ready, you can't go there. If it is unhealthy and unsafe, you have a right under Convention 155 of the ILO to remove yourself from any working environment that is unsafe and unhealthy. And that is what the Occupational Safety and Health Act of St. Vincent and the Grenadines also speak to. You can't force people to go to work in an environment that compromises the health and the safety. And we have a situation at Calder School now that we are monitoring, a similar situation. All we are saying, if you need adequate time, more time to get the schools in order, do so.
Prime Minister Dr. Raul Gonzalez says he has not received any reports on or sanctions regarding the seized Venezuelan plane that passed through St. Vincent and the Grenadines after it was allegedly illegally purchased in Florida last year. The Prime Minister, who was addressing the matter on WFM's Issues at Hand program on Sunday, explained that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was not informed of any sanctions, while explaining the two different sanctions that could be imposed on countries.
Matters. They come to me as Prime Minister, and I immediately send out that document to the Attorney General, the FSA, the FIU, the Commissioner of Police, the Superintendent, the Controller of Customs, the Chief Immigration Officer, all the points which will deal with any sanctioned individual, because we are bound by international law. The U.S. sanctions are unilateral sanctions, and if the U.S. inform us of a particular sanction and seek our cooperation in it, but I don't know of any communication which has been so made.
The Prime Minister further added that the plane that was seized was the very plane used to swap prisoners between the United States and Venezuela in Canawan last year.
Reports that this very plane also took from Caracas, from Venezuela, to Canawan. Well, they didn't say to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but it's to Canawan, where on two separate occasions we assisted in the facilitation of the exchange of prisoners. Some which some Americans, the Venezuelans had, and some Venezuelans whom the Americans had. That took place on our soil. Mm-hmm. As we say, we are friends of all, and we strive for a better world.
And Prime Minister, that was last year?
That was last year.
Yes.
The earlier one was a different plane, I'm told.
Okay.
I am, but whatever additional information I get on it from because we didn't have a number, the name of the plane publicly, the name of the company, they say is registered here. It's not simple just to check. If you had the name of the company, P. John, you could have just checked the registry now.
Commenting on the shell company in the Caribbean that was used to purchase the plane, the Prime Minister said as far as he is aware, it is not in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It was a shell company which purchased the plane, and that shell company was registered in St. Vincent. Okay. But I've seen that they say that the plane, the company is registered in San Marino. So I've seen different reports on that. Mm-hmm. That's the point I want to make.
Okay.
They haven't said that the plane was registered in St. Vincent.
The company.
The report said that the company, which allegedly owned the plane, but I don't know if that is true either, because that has to be checked. But the fact that the plane passes through St. Vincent, unless we are alerted that there's something untoward about a particular plane. And we have been alerted before about planes and boats which are of a particular, which people may have a particular interest in. And we would have shared information.
2 weeks ago, the U.S. government seized a plane owned by the Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro in the Dominican Republic while it was there for maintenance. Investigations revealed that the plane passed through St. Vincent and the Grenadines on April 2023. In other local news now, we hear that houses built under the government's low-income housing program still standing strong, with all withstanding Category 4 Hurricane Beryl, which devastated the southern Grenadines. This was pointed out by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on WFM Issues at Hand program on Sunday. Although not all of the low-income houses were built in areas that were directly affected by the hurricane, Prime Minister Gonsalves said for those that were in the part, they did not receive any damage compared to the private homes. He noted that this could be as a result of building guidelines which some persons are not adhering to.
Houses which we built stood up, which is testimony to an attempt to see if you can make the construction better, more resilient, stronger. But a lot of people, even to follow basic planning regulations, which are to aid them, which makes the construction more expensive, that persons try to get around those. And don't think about the natural disasters and the need to build their houses in a particular manner.